right, friends. Today we're going to talk about one Luis Elizondo and the UFO phenomenon. Okay, and his time at the Congress hearing where he swore under oath that he was telling the truth. And I really want to address the entirety of who he is, what he's about, and others kind of like him. But I'm going to do that in a few seconds. First, before we get to that, I want to encourage everybody watching to please subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification button so when I post videos, you get notified immediately that I posted a video. Also, very important, you know, give me the finger. I want to get the finger, but not the one you think. I want the thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you like what I do, and also leave a comment below if you think that this is something that you want to talk about. Because to me, it's very important that we get to talk about these things and we actually dissect them. And it's not just aliens and UFOs and paranormal. I talk about conspiracy and all kinds of stuff on my shows. I do a lot when it comes to this world. So please, if you like it, subscribe, hit the notification button, and again, give me the finger. Focus. And comments below. Comments below. Now, back to the rest of what I'm talking about here. UAPs are real. UFOs are real. Aliens are real. I have no doubt about that.
Do you believe the voice?
I want to believe.
Why is it important that we air out hoaxers and debunk people like Luis Elizondo? Because what people like him do, and people like Dr. Greer and Billy Meyer, Mike Horn, David Icke, all these, complete grifters and hoaxers, all these people do is they create stories which can never be verified. They go along with other people's stories and they mix it into their agenda, and gullible people believe it. Why? Because every certain amount of years, new people come into the field who have never, vetted any of this information. They've never researched it properly, so they have no idea what it is that's real or not. So they just don't know. It's gullibility. They're gullible to the fact. So it's understandable that every certain amount of years, stuff comes out and everybody's like, disclosure, it's finally happening. And then, nada, not a thing, all right? My other good friend, Steve Bassett, shout out to him, awesome dude, love Steve Bassett. He calls it the UFO embargo. I agree with that. There is a UFO embargo. It's been a disclosure embargo for many years. Why? Because of the technology. And not only that, because a lot of people still fear the fact that we're not alone. In my book, I cover more of that and what it, actually is that people are experiencing and witnessing. And I even go into the Travis Walton case, who I've interviewed and met. Mike Rogers, who's with Travis, is a good friend of mine. Shout outs to Mike. I've been able to kind of like do not only my own homework, but gather as much of important information from people within the field for many, many years. I've met in person and interviewed Stan Friedman, and I talked to him directly about the Bob Lazar stuff, and I have verified a lot of Bob Lazar stuff, which caused a little friction with Stanton Friedman and myself, because it was like, there's no way, Angel, that any of Bob Lazar's story is real. I've looked into him and I cannot find information. And I said, with all respect, Stanton, if somebody's trying to wipe your name off a map, you're not going to be able to find much no matter who you ask. And that's what happened to Bob Lazar, and I was able to verify a lot of what Bob Lazar said as fact. Okay? Not going to get too much into Bob Lazar because it's not about him. This is about Luis Elizondo. So, let's move on from Bob Lazar. Now, when you go to Congress, remember you have to understand that in Congress you're under oath. You have to tell the truth. If you don't, you're considered a liar and you could face criminal charges, right? Now, Luis Elizondo went in Congress and he made, claims that he worked for um, certain programs and he was a whistleblower and yada yada yada. Now he also said that there was a photo of a 1,000-foot silver UFO flying over the U.S., snapped by an airline pilot, released by the infamous Pentagon. Whistleblower, again, Luis Elizondo.
Um, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you now is because I think it's important and relevant to this next conversation with these two individuals who I'll introduce to you in a minute. Very relevant to this conversation. We talk about national security a lot, and our pilots, they're men and women in uniform, bravely fight wars for us in combat. But there's a whole sector out there that we also have to be cognizant of. That's our commercial pilots and civilian pilots. And I'm going to share with you a photograph that has never been made public. It was taken in 2021 over the Four Corners region at an altitude of approximately 21,000 feet by a private pilot outside of his aircraft. And this is a photo I'll give a copy for Congress to see. It was taken by we have all the information on the camera, and I just received permission today to share this with you. It is a lenticular object, and when you look at the shadow being cast, it is significantly large. This is an altitude of 21,000 feet. Taken by a civilian pilot. Now, why is this important? When you're finished as well, please pass on down to them. This is taken from a civilian pilot, right? Not a FLIR system, not an infrared system, but an average person with an average camera at 21,000 feet. And the object potentially is anywhere between 600 to 1,000 feet in diameter. It's a lenticular object, and it is silver. Now, I cannot vouch for the veracity of this photograph. I didn't take it. But this is an example of one of many, many, many incidents involving commercial and private pilots. And guess what? They don't know where to report it. Guess what? Congress has no idea that this is happening on a regular basis. That's a problem. And the reason why I decided to share this photograph with you, taken from a civilian pilot now, is because the same challenges that our pilots, our military pilots, are facing as to where to report it, who's going to analyze it, what do you do with the information, multiply that for the civilian aviation community. Do they report to the FAA? Do they report to NORA? Maybe the Air Force? Maybe the civilian organization, right? Who's responsible for getting this information out? Again, let me caveat, this has not been vetted. This was taken by a civilian pilot. But once again, you would think this information would be important for somebody to look at. Certainly some in government, certainly some of our representatives that are sitting here, right? If these are over sensitive military installations, whose are they? What are their capabilities? What are the intent? Right? But enough of me right now.
From a blurry image, you kind of say, yeah, it kind of looks like a UFO. But check out this part here, right? What does that tell you? It's not the same shape as this. This is circled. This is not a circle, right? It has a little tip here. There's an irrigation in the field. It's for water, okay? Now, this is the actual image, not blurred, and you can see that this is not a UFO. This is not the shadow of a UFO. This is actually, again, for irrigation. And this is just a crop right next to it, right? Now, if you're somebody like Elizondo over here who is making this kind of claim, it would be in your best interest to make sure you verify what you're talking about, because if not, you're going to look like a complete imbecile, which is what he looks like, really, when you look at, what it is he's trying to talk about and what he's putting out there, which is not real.
And now you can say, you're fired.
Let's take a closer look at this again. You see what I'm saying? There's no alien ship there. The photo allegedly shows an alien-wide silver UFO. Where the hell's the UFO, Luis? Right? Now, again, if you look at it as a blurry image, you could say, if you're gullible, wow, yeah, that looks like a UFO, man, look at that. Alien space craft, for show. But, as we all know, this mouth breather over here, Luis Elizondo right there, the mouth breathing Elizondo, is a liar. He's not a whistleblower. He is a grifter. He is somebody who's trying to take pictures, images, stories, whatever, box them together and make it his own for fame and money. He has a podcast. He's done DVDs, documentaries. I'm sure books are going to come out. So he's going to make a lot more money than I will ever make. And I'm telling you the truth. Okay? Why? Because people are gullible and people buy lies from people like that guy, Luis Elizondo. Now, Elizondo revealed a photo during the UAP Disclosure Fund event. The spooky picture shows what looks like a circular object floating above the Earth. The UAP Disclosure Fund shared the image on X, formerly Twitter, and captured near Four Corners at FL 20. Estimated 600 to 1,000 feet in diameter, the silver-hued disc-shaped. Several speakers confirmed the Department of Defense Intelligence Committee hold hundreds of similar UAP images, plus censor files. Still classified. Now, folks, this is proven to be a lie. Okay, and I think that's okay. So, but it says here, it's time for full declassification and open scientific analysis. But skeptics were quick to challenge the discovery, claiming the photo merely showed irrigation circles that are common in desert climates and crop fields. Now, let's take a look at this. And the famed UAP debunker, Mick West, added that the shadow patterns in the hills are counterfactual to the claim that the object is creating its own shadow, according to the blog post. This comes after Elizondo revealed a freaky photo of an alleged massive alien mothership back last October. See, he described the supposed spacecraft as a huge mini city floating in the sky. A huge mini city floating in the sky. This is what he called it. The picture appeared to show a distinctive disc shape with beaming light emitting from its bottom. Okay, the shape is universally recognized as what we understand as an alien UFO would look like, as it hovers menacingly over air, as Elizondo told attendees at the paid event, which he got paid for. You don't do this kind of stupid thing if you're being honest and real. You don't go somewhere under oath, talk about this stuff, and then present pictures of irrigation in a field. Okay, you don't do that and say, yeah, this is a mothership, 1,000 feet, silver object. And then he came out saying, well, the picture was handed to me last minute, and, I took it in, and I was like, yeah, look at this. Now, this is why it's important to check the source before you put anything out there. Another mouth breather who does this often and gets caught every time is Jaime Maussan, who has been debunked over and over again. Now, I'm not trying to debunk anybody on purpose, or that's not my agenda in life. But when it's this clear that it's a lie, and it's by people that I can tell you 100% fact are grifters and liars, I'm going to go and just expose it, okay? If I'm lying about what this guy, right here, Luis Elizondo, what he posted and claimed to be a mothership over a crop field, if I'm lying that that's not a mothership and he's being truthful, sue me, Luis. Come after me. But you can't, because you've been debunked. You're now known as a liar. So what happens? He's going to continue his podcast. He's going to continue to make a testicle or spectacle of himself at all costs. And he's going to get the next generation of gullible people to believe who he is. And they're going to go back, not research it. They're going to see him, put that picture up again. They're going to be like, yeah, this guy is telling the truth. He is telling us what we want to hear. Aliens are real. But it's all coming from a liar. Luis Elizondo is a liar. Okay? Dr. Greer is a liar. Folks, these people are here to make money and make fame. They want to be the center of the attention. That's what it is. Dr. Greer's been doing this for years. And I hate calling him Dr. Greer. He's not a doctor. He's just a moron. Steven Greer. Let's just call him that. I'm going to stop calling him Dr. Greer. Steven Greer. This guy has been doing this for decades. Luis Elizondo here has been following that grift for who knows how long. And now he's coming along and he's doing something similar. He's putting himself in this almost Neo-Matrix type of, position where, I'm telling you facts because I'm a chosen one to present these facts. He wasn't chosen by anybody. Nobody told him to go. And a big red flag, anytime you see a person like that guy over there, and people like him who go to Congress or go anywhere and they start, putting themselves in the middle of every story like, Steven Greer does with the whole, egg video, or like, yeah, it was me who did this or me who did that, and their stories coming always through me, and I'm doing this. These are people that are like completely grifters, and they're just trying to feed a narrative to keep the boat flowing. Brother Greer has a carnival that you can go on every, year or whatever, where he interacts and intermingles with people and sells his grift, and people buy his books, his documentaries, and look at his podcast. Luis Elizondo has a podcast also, right? So why is this important to understand? That these people are only doing this for the fame, because it hurts ufology. Every liar like that guy, like Greer, like Billy Meyer, like Michael Horn, all these, liars muddy the waters for what really is going on, what really is important. And we, as people demanding disclosure, are tired of this shit. We're tired of the grifters and the liars and the hoaxers and the con artists that are often involved with these stories. And it's time that people start talking about it and posting more information, debunking their BS and exposing these people. This is why I'm doing this video, and why many have done videos on this particular photo exposing Elizondo, right? Because, again, he was caught. He's busted. He's busted as what he is, a liar. And Elizondo cannot get away from the simple fact that he made a claim that was a UFO when it wasn't. Okay? There's no way around this. Okay, Luis Elizondo, you made the claim. Okay? You said 1,000-foot UFO with that open mouth of yours, right? Look at that. Mouth breather, Luis Elizondo. Now, I want you guys to check this out. Remember, these people right here, Gallaudet, Elizondo, and Schellenberger, and I can't remember his name, but whatever. These gentlemen all have their hands raised. They're swearing under oath that they're not lying, but yet they are lying. Luis Elizondo is a liar. They have no first-hand knowledge, and a red flag should always come up when somebody goes under oath and says the following: I could speak on this mostly when it's related to subjects like UFOs, aliens, stuff like this. And there's some stuff government secret which it's more understandable, but even that is like, well, The fact is, if you cannot speak on one part of the subject, you can't speak on any of it. Okay? There's no cherry picking. Oh yeah, you can talk about this, but you can't talk about that. That's bullshit. That's a lie. Okay? You either can or you can't. Okay? Anybody who says under oath, yeah, I can tell you certain things, but there's certain things I'm told not to talk about, that guy's lying to you. Because the people involved in keeping the lie going are not going to give you permission to talk about certain things and leave certain things open to interpretation or ambiguous or whatever. It doesn't work that way. So again, when you see something like this, right, and it's debunked, right, as being not a UFO like Elizondo claimed, but just, irrigation on a crop field or a field, right? Nothing extraterrestrial about this. But yet, the mouth breather over here claims it's real. And check that out. FL 210 near Four Corners, right? And again, if you're looking at it as a blurry picture, man, it really does look like a UFO. But it takes a little bit of vetting and a little bit of actual research to figure out that it's fake. It's not a UFO. But his, big explanation again is that, it was just handed to me last minute, so I went with it. Well, Lewis, that is not acceptable. Because that just shows that you, sir, are lying and you have no idea what you're talking about. If you did, you would have made sure that this was an actual UFO, right? Before you went and posted this blurry ass picture saying that this is real. This is what completely makes you look like an imbecile, a buffoon, and just brings again more of that laughing stock mentality to this very serious subject where people laugh at us because we take this stuff serious, and they laugh at it and there's still that giggle factor because of imbeciles like Luis Elizondo. Now, look, I have nothing to lose in this, okay? And I'm just trying to be real with y'all. Don't believe the grift. Stop supporting liars. Once you get completely debunked like Lewis over here, that's it. Game over. Stop supporting this guy. No more. Stop going to his videos. Stop checking into his shit. People say, oh, well, at least he's talking about it and he's bringing it up in the conversation. Guys, the UFO phenomenon has not been out of our, conversation ever. We've been talking about this shit since, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s. The first report was in, 47 by Kenneth Arnold that we can recall the term flying saucer coming from. And what he actually saw was a boomerang-shaped, not a saucer-shaped object. But Kenneth Arnold said it was skipping over the air like a saucer over water, right? So the term flying saucer became lexicon to our language. So this is nothing new. We've been talking about this for decades and decades and decades. So we don't need somebody like Luis Elizondo, and we don't need this kind of like, garbage in 2025. Okay, this is nothing new. It hasn't been out of our language and our mindset for, any time, or any frame of time. In fact, most big Hollywood movies are based on aliens, UFOs. We don't need movies like Men in Black, Independence Day, or anything like that from Will Smith. We don't need movies that tell us the aliens are real. Hell, we live in a universe filled with planets, stars, that we know of, maybe billions and trillions of stars out there. We're not the only ones playing ball. A lot of the drones and stuff that we've been seeing are not alien in nature. They're our own creation. And when I say ours, I don't just mean government. I mean even people are creating drones themselves. 3D printing, advancements in technology. People are just doing things on themselves, and you can see that in even YouTube, where there's even a video of a guy who did what looked like a beautiful UFO, a flying saucer, and he made it into a boat, and you can see him like driving this boat around, and he did it with a buddy of his, just two guys, and they built a flying saucer looking thing, but it was a boat for one person to drive, and you can see it on YouTube. It's absolutely awesome the way he did this. So technology is getting to the point where it's going to be very difficult in the next few years to know what might be extraterrestrial, or what might be, just man-made, or what might be government-made. From my research, guys, the drones in the last few years have been mostly, again, either the CCP, our own here from the government, or mostly people just creating, their own drones out of, 3D printing, modern technology. They're kind of like doing a hybrid of what's official and what they're adding to these things. And in there is a percentage of real, possible alien ships, lights, whatever. But all that aside, it does not take away the fact that we have to expose these liars and these grifters. And I hope if you guys take anything away from the last half hour of me talking about this, is that please do your own research. Don't take my word for it, okay? Do your own homework. I spent decades doing my own homework. I can now spot a faker from a mile away. I knew Luis Elizondo over here was completely, full of it. From the moment I saw him talk, he just looked like a fake. And then, stuff is coming out now where it's just proving that he's a fake.
And now you can say, you're fired.
You take that and you do whatever you want with it, folks. That's the end of the video. That's all I got. If you guys like what you heard, once again, please, like I said earlier, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you give me the finger the thumbs up. Remember, notification button, which is important so you know when I'm posting videos, and leave your comments below so I can get back to you. I'll address you either in text, chat, and if you want, something from me, like if you want me to talk about a certain subject, whether it's UFOs or entertainment or whatever, hit me up on text, hit me up on email, whatever. I'll try to get back to everybody as soon as possible. And, so please check out my work, angelespino.com. Also go to my Patreon page and become an angel investor. It's very simple, patreon.com/Angel Espino. That's it. Very simple. It's my name. Patreon.com/Angel Espino. It'll take you right to it. Please become an angel investor. Until next time, guys, I will see you on the next video. And remember, very important, love, peace, and chicken grease. Till next time, everybody. Love you all. Hit the music!